Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Kick Me. Today we're going to be looking backwards. I was thinking about a name for this series, maybe Caveat Empor or Fraud Back Fridays or some, catchy name. Maybe Fraud Back Fridays, even though I'm not going to release this on Friday. Maybe you're watching this on a Friday. Today we're going to look back at one of the most famous, I guess, disappointments on Kickstarter and probably in crowdfunding altogether. This is called the CST-01, the world's thinnest watch. And as you can probably imagine from the dates, this is an old one. So this thing, I guess the fundraising was in 2012, and it was supposed to be delivered by 2013. And it is now 2018, and guess who has not gotten their watches? Basically, this is a kind of a wristband with a super thin e-ink display. So it claims to be the world's thinnest watch, 0.8 millimeters thin flexible watch, e-ink display, yada yada yada, stainless steel, single piece bracelet. And this thing got $1 million basically, and over 7,600 backers. And so the reason we're talking about it is because it didn't happen. So let's just take a quick look at their video. It's pretty short and starts out with a lot of nothing. So one key thing is they show and they claim that they had working prototypes. Then is a credit card. So one of the most amazing features, and also one of the things that got them in trouble ultimately, I think, is the fact that this thing was supposed to last for a month on a single charge and charge in 10 minutes on this little base. And the base was also used to, I guess at the time, and other things. And so super thin. And they show the components, and then they have the nice thing from the two founder guys.
Powers the watch. We have a full working prototype right now with real production parts, and we spent the last year designing, prototyping, and revising those parts. And this is the first successful assembly we've got.
The CST-01 is a truly remarkable product, but we're going to need your help in order to manufacture it.
So please, back us on Kickstarter, like us on Facebook,
and get the word out there. Thanks.
So sounds good. I don't know. Call me it's not racist. I guess call me a discriminatory person, but any British sounding dude wearing one of these hats, I don't trust him for technology. Just me. Anyway, so that was what the pitch was, and apparently it worked, and they got all the stuff showing here. Assembled in USA. What they don't mention here is actually they were working, I guess, most of the time or the whole time, they were working with Flextronics, which is a manufacturer that kind of has specialties, and they were part of their incubator program, which I guess must have been at the same time they were launching this, but they never mentioned it here. And anyway, so long story short, how did this one end up? Well, it's 2018, and as of, I guess, last week, you still have people saying, I want my money back. A lot of people, actually, I invoke. So this is kind of like one of those memes you see floating around Facebook where people are like, I declare I own all the rights to my pictures, and they think just by posting that it'll get them something. But like lots and lots of people, I haven't got it yet, where's my money, give me my money back. And then the people actually calling out the people saying that they invoked the right, you're just wasting your time. Because ultimately this company went out of business, and your money is gone. So let's take a look at that. Okay, botched $1 million Kickstarter. CST-01 had another secret and a made-up van sob story. So this is from The Observer. It goes into a little bit of detail on kind of the autopsy of what happened. And it's pretty typical. Actually, the other thing to note is this was a $200,000 Kickstarter. They actually got 5 times more, and yet still didn't have enough money to make this thing happen. And then here's those two dudes. Anyway, there's some quotes in here. So first of all, they talked to Flextronics, and so they actually sort of revealed that they were part of this accelerator that they never mentioned to anyone, and they had helped them on all this stuff, and I think she goes and she actually basically trashes them a little bit too. Um, and so I guess in one of their updates they said, "Oh yeah, we're living in the van at outside the Flextronics factory, so we can help improve it." Yeah, update on their Kickstarter, whatever. And so she basically said they weren't fucking living in the van. Um, and so she didn't trash them maybe specifically, other than that, but she did say there are people without experience bringing a product to market and developing consumer. They may be well-intentioned, but get under a tidal wave they're launching. It takes a lot to actually bring something to life, commercialize it, and deliver it, especially in these volumes. So this might be that they were a victim of their own success. So because they realized they needed to build 7,000 of these and maybe not 700 of these, they tried to make it scale up better, and therefore they had more expenses, or just they couldn't handle it, or they freaked out, or they were incompetent. So she mentions here one of the key things that I should probably mention this in every single video: buyer beware. Um, and so really look at the team that's behind this. And as I've shown in some of my other fraud videos, Sonic Soak, I'm talking to you. Mizu Towel, I'm talking to you. And that's actually the same fraud team behind it. In those cases, the team, if they're pie in the sky guys, they might have no actual capability of bringing something to market at scale. And then they have actually really good clip here from a guy who's an experienced backer. And apparently he actually received, I guess, a prototype watch or an early sample watch from these guys. So he actually got the CST-01. He actually got two because one of them was defective and they sent him a second one. And so he has a pretty good philosophy. I guess he's backed 12 campaigns, and he says basically I've approached these as basically a gamble, all of them, until the thing's in your hands. He doesn't expect to get it. So basically he's like basically betting, and it's kind of like with a lottery ticket, or don't bet more than you're willing to lose, right? So if it wins, it wins. If it loses, hopefully you didn't bet too much. And so this guy actually works in tech, and he's sort of familiar with manufacturing, I guess. And the key quote from this article I wanted to share is, engineers tend to overestimate their project. And so in this Mr. Kraut's position, I am privileged position to tell you these projects actually are, despite where their backers say they are. So he can, I guess, tell the difference between what they're saying and what they're showing, or what they're claiming is feasible versus what his experience tells you is feasible. And I would say, from my experience, I'm not a manufacturing person, but I am a design person. I can see that in a lot of these too. Either they're overpromising, or they are trying to, I would say, overmarket things that aren't as special as they sound, or as they want you to think they are. And so obviously this is another guy who didn't get his thing. He was claiming basically he feels it's really fraud. And so the question was, were they just incompetent, or were they actually being fraudulent? This guy actually has a pretty good answer. It's called incompetence that led to fraud. So, basically this is pretty understandable. You get yourself stuck. You overpromised, you underdeliver. Okay, stupid observer made me refresh my browser. But basically you end up like being trapped under your previous promises, and then what do? Some people freak out. Some people just throw up their hands and run away. I guess these guys kind of dragged it along, probably spent up the rest of their money, and then basically they filed for bankruptcy. So let's look at some of these other ones that, this thing actually got a lot of press. Raised over $1 million on Kickstarter to make the world's thinnest watch. Now it's declared bankruptcy, and those backers won't see a penny. So, yeah, this one is pretty brutal. And there's a key quote in here. This one's actually referring to other articles like Slash Gear. who looked through their bankruptcy papers, and basically it says there's a gem in, I guess, the bankruptcy thing or whatever. The trustee assignee has not determined whether Kickstarter or other crowdfunding contributor is entitled to participate in a distribution, if any. So, distribution of their assets, or these unsecured creditors or whatever. So, basically, what that means is even if they had $1 million worth of finished products lying around, um, if you're one of the backers, you're at the end of the line, as far as getting that paid out. So I think that's an important kind of legal thing. Um, and so you should keep in mind, like, all these people saying, I'm going to sue them for fraud, or I'm going to, where's my watch? Give me my watch. The two guys probably had hopefully for their sake, they had a limited liability corporation, which means you can sue the company, but you can't sue them personally. And so this is where it gets really fishy. Let's say they each paid themselves $100,000 a year in salary, in order to bring this to fruition. It's been, whatever, 4 years, 5 years. So that's two dudes. That's your $1 million right there. They could basically just be living off that money and then claim, oh, well, your money was spent in the attempt to execute this thing, and now we're out of money, so we're bankrupt. And meanwhile, they have made not only living expenses for 5 years, but they've also, probably pocketed a lot of that money. And the question is, can you come after that afterwards? If you wanted to get your money back from the company and the company doesn't have money, can you then sue the people that the company paid money to? I don't think so, right? So I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on YouTube, but basically you're screwed. So there's ways for these kind of people to legally come out ahead, even if the company goes belly up. The only thing that they've lost is their reputation, but who knows? Maybe they change their name, or they partner with someone else, and that new person becomes the face of their next fraud Kickstarter. I'm talking to you, Glenn. Glenn, come clean. Glenn from Mizu Towel. I'll actually do another video about Mizu Towel and Sonic Soap pretty soon, I think, because it's just so fucking interesting. Anyway, another one, Popular Mechanics, actually talking about this. They go into a little bit more detail about, I think, the batteries. I think what mainly went wrong with the CST-01 was the technology for the battery. They promised, I don't know if it was this article, another article. Basically, they promised, like a 1 month charge and all the things I showed you. And there just was no way with the existing technology to get anywhere near that with the thinness that they had promised. And so, yeah, they were basically screwed. They would need, like, something mentioned in here, something. They needed like another $1 million, just to get the project done. And so in that case, like, what would you do? I would say I would rather deliver a product that, especially with, like, 1 month is quite long. Like, I would say, okay, yeah, it turns out it's only a week or 3 or 4 days even, compared to an Apple Watch, that's still quite good. And get it done rather than just run away with the money, right? I promised a month and that's impossible. So, because that, otherwise you could just say, oh, the last 5 years on one charge. And, oh, it only lasts 4 years, so sorry, I'm going to take your money and disappear. Yeah, so if it was me, if I was one of these co-founders, I would fight to at least release something, even if it's not quite as good. And so in the case of Popular Mechanics, they do give a good reminder, things that you should know, basically. If you're tempted to crowdfund something, there's no guarantee that you'll get what you pay for. You probably won't ever get your money. Well, I don't know. Yeah, if you don't get what you pay for, you probably won't get your money back. That's good. Even if you get your new toy, there's no guarantee it'll be what it should be, do what it should do, or be any good. That's a given. And it's called a donation for a reason, or you're supporting a campaign. You're not actually buying something. And this is something I have to remind myself too. Like, when I'm totally trashing these things for the cost for the different levels, I'm looking at it as if you're buying something, not as if you're donating to the development of a product and getting something back, hopefully. But that's the problem, is because, especially because some of these guys are marketing these projects as if they are done, or in some cases like Sonic Soap, they actually have been on the market for 1.5 years, and they're just repackaging them, um, which is a whole nother issue. But anyway, because of that, yeah, okay, Sonic Soap wants backing for $150 when you can go on Taobao and buy the exact same product from the exact same factory for $50, then yeah, of course you look at it as like buying something at an inflated price. But in reality, in cases like the CST, and I'll probably do another one about this laser razor because that's another um, flaming pile. Um, you get a lot of these kind of cases where it's actually not like that because they're not done and they're not actually sure if they can get what they promised, and in some cases can't. So yeah, here's the Slash Gear article that they mentioned in the other one. Dead in the water. Dude, you should have made it like 2 millimeters thick, and people would have still been happy. Um, I guess how does that work? Like, because the promise in there on the product, like some things are clearly fraud. Like Mizu towel claiming it's made in Japan when it's not made in Japan. That would be false advertising and fraud. But saying our prototype is 0.8 millimeters and you ship them something that's 2 millimeters, people really have a case to sue? I don't think so. Um, Maybe they do, I guess. I don't know. So, word to the wise is, if you're doing a campaign like that, don't give out specific numbers unless you're absolutely sure it's going to fit. Anyway, okay, so that's it for the trashing of the CST-01. There's some funny comments in here if you ever want to. I mean, look, it's literally been 5 years and people are still going on about it. And then there's all these people saying, like, I came back a year later and there's still people whining about this. But one guy had a really good take on it. He's like, basically, consider this to be a private, exclusive, members-only forum where the cost of entry was the $129. I paid $129 to be a member of a super exclusive subforum of people who got ripped off. So yeah, you gotta look for the silver lining. Anyway, that's it for today from Go Kick Me. Hope you guys are enjoying these. If you enjoy the look back ones, then I'm happy to do more. There's actually tons and tons of them. That flaming razor thing, laser razor. There's a backpack one that's like a power bank backpack that got $1,000,000. There's all tons of them. I actually have them on my other screen. There's a Elio motor scooter, all kinds of stuff. And then there's just the regular fraud ones about like people who did a Indiegogo or whatever, GoFundMe for cancer when they didn't have cancer and things like that. I don't think I'll go into those. I'll stick to technology. But anyway, thank you to everyone who has supported the channel and left comments, especially on the fraud ones. It seems to be the most popular stuff. Thank you to all the subscribers. It's actually been, as of this past week, 1 month since I started this channel. I've been trying to do videos every weekday at least, and the results have been pretty good. So this is my 35th video, and so far so good. So thanks everyone for your support. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook at GoKickMe. And if you have a suggestion for a product to review, if it's a good one especially, I need more good ones. I only have these shitty ones. Definitely leave a comment and let us know. Okay, thanks and bye.